Fire over there.
Give 1 second.
You idiots.
We are ready, Mr. Caraway.
Okay, we're going to go ahead and start with our next presentation. CMarr is going to talk to us about sports marketing.
Hi, my name is CMarr, and the name of my project is Work Hard, Play Hard, the impact of sports marketing. Is it the next button?
Side.
Yeah.
That one. Yeah. Minus 50 points.
We'll start again. Okay. We'll start
Making sure your introduction was solid.
Any suggestions on that first slide?
It seems that you spelled your first name.
That's right.
Yeah.
Hey.
Hi, my name is CMarr. The name of my project was Work Hard, Play Hard, the impact of sports marketing. My research question was, what is the significance of marketing to sports organizations, and what are the best strategies to do so? So the first thing that I noticed when researching my topic was sports marketing is a very broad topic. So at first I was just thinking sports organizations, like the professional teams that you guys watch every week. Every game, they're marketing for that during the week, but really organizations, Coca-Cola, the main huge brands all have a sports marketing aspect to them, and where they sponsor different events. So the PricewaterhouseCoopers, they've estimated that the global sports market is growing exponentially every year, and in 2010 it was producing $121.4 billion, and in 2015 is projected to do $145.3 billion. It's a huge market to put your product into, to display it to the world. I have four of the best strategies. The first one is tribalism, and that's basically saying let the consumer will feel like they are one with the organization, with the team. That's with jerseys, like fan clubs, all that. It makes them feel as if they are part of the organization. Like when you'll notice when people are talking about their favorite team, they're going to say "we," as if they are on the team or getting the payroll. But clearly they're not. The next is patriotism, and that's basically using your country's, using the patriotism of your country to bring everyone together. One example is in the United States, soccer is not a very big sport. Typically, the MLS, it's not commonly watched. Yet every 4 years, when the World Cup comes around, people all of a sudden love soccer and love, rooting for the USA. And then in other instances, baseball and football are sometimes referred to as America's sport, and people commonly surround that. The next is player identification. That is using players to sell your product. So more than just the player's ability to help you win, is their marketability. Old players get signed all the time, and part of you is like, why do we want them on the team? They're probably won't even play half the year, and it's to have that jersey, that name on the back of a jersey to sell tickets. And that is, player identification is the number one thing that sells tickets for organizations, and especially hometown players, because if the local people can relate with that person, that wants them to attend those events even more. And the last is brand sponsorship, and that's where companies other than the sports organizations sponsor the Super Bowl, sponsor Sports Center runs, and that's to get there. That's just to use that massive platform to market their product. So now I'm going to get into my internship and community service. This is Martha Strother. She's the executive director at the Montpelier Steeplechase and Equestrian Foundation. It's a nonprofit, and they put on the annual Montpelier Hunt races. That's their biggest event of the year. So for her, I went around. The first thing she had me do is one of the first. I walked in there and she said, "Here's 300 posters and brochures. Go around to the local businesses and ask if you can put up, tape these up on their windows, and if you can put these out to hand out." And all I could think of were those annoying calls that you get saying, "Will you please donate?" And I was just like, man, people are gonna turn me down. Like, this is gonna stink. But it was actually really the response I got from local businesses in Orange and in Locust Grove was great. And I don't think I got turned down once from a local business. They let me hang up the poster and give the brochures to hand out. The next thing I did was a couple of days before the races, I went to the site location, and she kind of looked at me and she's like, "I know you're going to think that I'm just giving you something to do to keep you out of my way, but I need you to walk the entire track and pick up walnuts." These things are like this big, and the grass is not shaved down all the way, but the risk for horses racing, they can roll over one of those and seriously injure themselves. And with horse injuries, it can often end up fatal. So I walked the 1.5-mile, 2-mile track, finding walnuts in the grass and chucking them into the woods, and my arm was killing me at the end of the day. And then I helped rake the paddock. Apparently jockeys are very specific about the amount of leaves in their area. So another thing, because she's nonprofit, she was willing to share all of her finances with me. And the second largest producer of revenue was the marketing that she did next to ticket sales. And it was above $68,000. And the significance of the event, just to show the impact of sports marketing in the local town of Orange, a study in 2010 showed that the Montpelier Hunt races that year produced $785,400 for the town of Orange total. And that was just a minimum estimated figure. I did further community service at the local Boys and Girls Club in Orange. I first made a connection with them through the leadership club that we've got here, and I tutored last year through that program that Bradley had mentioned earlier. And this year I wanted to continue tutoring as well as create a sports connection with them. My supervisors there were Sheila Donnelly and Sarah McLeod. And I went over there after schools, and they have a power hour from up until 4 o'clock that you help the kids tutor. And at first I was a little wearisome of picturing any kids, so there may or may not be a kid somewhere in that picture that I'm reading that book to. And then after that, they go to the gym for a playtime where they rotate sports throughout the week to give them a wide variety. And that's a picture of me playing hockey with them. And I like that because it emphasizes the student-athlete relationship that has been very important to me throughout high school. It's that you really got to do your schoolwork before you do athletics, and it can be hard sometimes. I've had a lot of late nights after sports, especially last night. We got home at 12 o'clock, and I also may or may not have been done with this presentation. My legacy. So for my legacy, I created creating that connection with the Boys and Girls Club to Orange County Athletics. I worked with the athletic director here, Mark Cole, to give them a free admission to a basketball game this year. And I know they made it into a field trip, and the kids loved it. They came and they had a great time. A lot of the kids there are aspiring athletes, and they are looking up not only to the professional level, but to one day play here in Orange County. And they're looking up to athletes like us, and I'm not even that good, and they think I'm good. So it's fun to work with them, and it was great. I'm hoping to get a ticket for them for soccer as well. So things that I learned about myself is that I really do see sports now as more of something I can do outside just playing. the reason why I chose sports marketing was because I always envisioned doing business through past high school and more of a marketing management aspect. And I was thinking, how could I connect that to sports? And I could try to find a job with marketing at a sports organization. And so I figured like that this was just the best combination of those two. And recently, right before I started applying to colleges, there's a major now that's up and coming that's like sports management, and it entails it's business specifically designed for sports, and that is it's growing, so it's not a huge major. It's not at a lot of schools, so it's gonna affect my decision. I'm not sure whether or not. And I also learned that I'm not invincible to procrastination. The past years, I've been able to stay up late nights and get through, but this year, these 10-page papers are not able to be done in one night. And so for stuff that I would do to look back on and change, and advice for future government school students is try not to procrastinate. I mean, we're all going to, there is a certain degree that everyone likes to push stuff off, but if you could really not. And then also for finding your mentor, use connections. At the start of this, I went in front of our class when we presented our ideal presentation, and I said that I wanted to get an internship with the Washington Wizards in DC, and I knew that was ambitious, but because of the connections that I have, I almost got a internship with the Washington Nationals. I had ended up talking to a marketing director at the Washington Nationals. It just came down to that I wasn't 18, that I wasn't able to get in there. But then Martha Strauder, the person that I did end up interning with, she is someone that we've known for the past few years, and she was really helpful. So in conclusion, I think that no matter what I decide to do, whether it's regular business or sports business, the competitive level that I've experienced playing sports throughout my years will help me in any business I decide to get into. You know, it's competition in the real world. It's fun now, and I'm hoping that it'll be fun later.
So Colin, this is more directed towards your research, but you talked about how big of a business this is, and I feel like in other presentations we've heard numbers like 3 billion and like 6 billion, and now you have like hundreds of billions of dollars. And so did anything in your research, or maybe you just comment on, like, a lot of that money that gets made goes to a fairly small group, and when you get to like the college level, where you can have some of the most, I guess, we talk about like tribalism, like in sports, you get to the college level and you really see a lot of that, and none of that goes towards the athletes themselves. Like, did you see any of that in your research? Do you have any comment on that?
It's actually not in this research, but I recently watched the 30 for 30. That was about student athletes. And I don't want to take away from that term, because it is very important that you are a student before an athlete. Basically, that term was created by the NCAA to label these athletes that are working their butts off and making lots of money for them as they are a student before they are an athlete. So therefore, they are not paid to be a student. Now, in a lot of cases, they have those scholarships, but they specifically label that as if they're not working for the university. The university is giving them. So that's how they keep the money away from at least college athletes.
Well, that was my question as well. But I will say I had the same exact question.
My question is, you said that you were worried at first about handing out these posters and that people are going to turn you down. Why do you think businesses did not turn you down and you had a pretty positive perception?
So I was suggested to go to local businesses because they're, as that figure showed, the Montpelier Hunt Races does a lot for the County of Orange, and it's a known event that people all around the county love to attend this. So they are familiar, especially local businesses, they're familiar with the event and they want to support the incoming business, the incoming tourism. Ms. Strawther was telling me that, and I was very surprised to hear this, that people actually do travel from all over the country to attend the Montpelier Hunt races because they've experienced them before. And then after they come and experience this, they ask for brochures about the County of Orange and about Montpelier itself to come back and visit at another time. So I think that the businesses all want to support this. It seems that it's a hard thing to find in Orange, a big event like this that gets everyone together. And I think that an event of this size, they really want it. They really want to help fund it and help.
And tying into that, do you think there could be a sports marketing thing related to hunt races? Let businesses aware of this, or
Yes, she does. So she was explaining to me that the posters are more it's almost outdated, that she's doing a lot of electronic marketing now, but that is a classic thing that they've always done, and that the poster is always done with an original artwork piece, and people always love to see that every year. So it's almost more, especially in horse racing today, there's a very traditional aspect to it versus modern. And it was fun. She actually, right after I finished this project, I went to her with one of our final meetings, and she was telling me that she recently attended the National Steeplechase Association. She went to a national get-together, and they actually made major changes to their marketing aspect. I think they changed their name to try to reach more people. She even asked me to tell her more about the research that I did with what are the best strategies in marketing, because that's a big problem, that no one is really identifying with jockeys as much as they are with LeBron James. And so she was very appreciative, actually, of the research that I found.
How do you think we can market the sports like soccer and volleyball and everything here at the high school that we don't get the same attention that football and basketball and everything does?
Yeah. So originally I thought about trying to get a marketing thing together where posters were put up. It's a difficult question because it seems that I don't want to bash our school or our sports, but I know that I've been dedicated to the basketball and like soccer programs the past few years, and it's been hard getting great numbers and great records put up, and a lot of that is because in the surrounding area, like at least for soccer, I know there's no travel soccer program here in Orange except recently, and that's like there are places like Charlottesville and Fredericksburg that have had these established programs, and they are producing these great players that we're pulling from rec, and it's a lot more developmental than it is established. So I think there just has to be a larger community like togetherness and with sports especially. That comes with wins. Like if you look in professional sports, there are people that are having trouble with filling the stadiums, and that's crazy.
They're on YouTube live.
Next up, Jared's going to talk to us about video games.
Hi, my name is Jared Capel, as Mr. Carraway said, and I'm going to talk about using video games in an educational setting. I chose my topic because I love video games. It's a bit absurd the amount of time I put into video games, and frankly, I'm surprised I've been able to keep the grades up the amount of time I spent on it.